If your investments feel slow, you're already at risk of failing. Not because they don't work, but because you don't understand what's actually happening. That nothing is happening feeling, that's the exact moment most people quit right before it starts working. The wealthy don't see it as slow. They see something else entirely. We live in the instant gratification era. Everything is designed to be fast. Your food, 2 minutes in the microwave. Entertainment, infinite scroll. Results, overnight success stories plastered all over your feed. You see 18-year-olds flexing Lambos on Instagram, crypto millionaires who made it in 6 months, day traders turning $500 into 50 grand. It's everywhere. And whether you realize it or not, it's rewiring how you think about money. You start believing that wealth should happen fast, that if you're not seeing massive returns in weeks or months, something's wrong. You're doing it wrong. You picked the wrong stocks, you're behind. But here's the reality nobody wants to hear. Building wealth isn't a microwave moment. It's not sexy, it's not instant. You don't just hit a button and walk away rich 30 seconds later. That's the fantasy. The actual process, it's slower, quieter, and way less exciting than what you've been sold. And when you bring that same expectation into investing, that's where the problem starts. Let me be real with you. The problem isn't your portfolio, it's your brain. Your brain is wired for instant feedback. Dopamine hits, quick wins, that's how it survived for thousands of years. See threat, react fast, stay alive. But in the world of investing, that same wiring works against you. You check your portfolio 5 times a day, you refresh the app like it's gonna magically jump 20% since breakfast. You watch the line go up, you feel good, it dips, you panic. You're treating your investments like a video game, expecting constant action and constant progress. I'll tell you a personal story. When I first started investing, I built my 3-month emergency fund, felt proud, and then dumped everything else into the market. And for the first few weeks, I was glued to my phone, checking, watching, waiting for something to happen. I thought I was being diligent. In reality, I was just feeding my anxiety, because here's the truth. Watching your investments every day is like digging up a seed to see if it's growing. It doesn't help. It just damages the root system. You're not investing at that point. You're gambling with your mental state. You're confusing motion with progress. Just because the numbers are moving doesn't mean you're getting closer to wealth. Most of the time, you're just stressing yourself out over noise. Just noise. But this doesn't just make investing frustrating. It leads to something even worse. Here's what happens to most people. They start investing. They put in money every month. They do everything right, and then nothing. Week 1, barely moved. Month 1, a couple bucks up, maybe down. Month 3, still feels like nothing's happening. And that's when the doubt creeps in. Is this even worth it? I've been doing this for months and I'm up like $200. At this rate, I'll be 70 before this matters. So they quit, or worse, they keep the account open but stop contributing. They lose consistency, and consistency is the only thing that actually wins in this game. Motivation fades. Discipline is what compounds. This is what I call the boring phase. It's the phase where nothing feels like it's happening. Your balance looks basically the same as it did last month. There's no thrill, no dopamine, no instant gratification, just steady, unremarkable progress. And that boring phase, it's exactly where most people tap out, right before the magic starts. People don't fail at investing because it's hard. They fail because it's boring. They want speed, so they lose consistency. And without consistency, none of this works. You can't build wealth in 1 week, 1 month, or even 1 year of intense effort. You build it over years of boring, repetitive action. And right when things start to feel slow, most people go looking for something faster. This is where it gets dangerous, because when you're frustrated with slow progress, you become the perfect target. Suddenly, every ad is screaming at you, turn $500 into $10,000 in 30 days. This one crypto is about to explode. Learn my secret day trading strategy, and it's tempting. It feels like progress. It feels like you're finally doing something. You're taking action. You're in control. But here's what actually happens. You chase the fast money. You try to accelerate the process. Maybe you win once, maybe twice. You feel like a genius. Then you lose. You lose big, not a little. You wipe out months, sometimes years in a single bad decision. And suddenly you're back at zero. Or worse, you're in the red. Meanwhile, the person who just kept putting money into their index fund every month, they're still moving forward, slowly, boring, but forward. The problem isn't that investing is slow. It's that fast money is addictive. It gives you the illusion of progress. It makes you feel like you're beating the system. But in reality, you're just spinning your wheels while the patient investor quietly laps you. I've seen this cycle destroy people. They get frustrated, chase speed, lose money, get even more frustrated, and either quit entirely or keep chasing until they're broke. It's a trap. And the bait is your own impatience. While most people are chasing speed, they completely miss what actually builds wealth. Let me show you why slow investing works. In the beginning, compound interest feels like a joke. You put in $1,000 at 10% annual return, you make $100 the first year. Wow, life-changing, right? It feels irrelevant. It feels like nothing. But here's what people don't understand. Growth isn't linear. It's exponential. Let me put numbers on this. If you invest $250 a month for 20 years at 10%, you end up with roughly $190,000, and most of that growth, it happens after year 10. The first few years, your gains are tiny because you're earning returns on a small base. But as that base grows, your returns start earning returns. And those returns earn returns, and it starts to snowball. By year 10, you're not just earning on your contributions. You're earning on a decade of compounded growth. By year 20, most of your gains aren't even coming from what you put in. They're coming from what the market did with your money while you weren't looking. Think about it like planting a tree. You plant the seed, you water it. And for the first couple years, it's just a sad little stick in the ground. You could sit in a chair next to it every day, staring at it, waiting for it to grow. But that's insane. The growth is happening underground, in the roots, in the structure you can't see yet. The fruit doesn't come in year 1, it comes in year 7, year 10, year 15. And when it does, it's abundant. But only if you didn't dig up the tree in year 2 because you got bored. Most of your wealth gets built in the final years of compounding, not the first. The beginning is invisible. That's not a bug. That's the design. Nothing seems to happen. That's the point. And this is where everything starts to flip. Here's the part that changes everything. The fact that investing feels slow isn't a problem. It's a filter. If getting rich was fast and easy, everyone would do it. Everyone would be wealthy. But they're not. Why? Because most people can't handle slow. They can't handle boring. They need action. They need results now. And that impatience is exactly what keeps them broke. The slow pace of investing isn't a flaw in the system. It's a barrier to entry. It's the price of admission. And the price isn't money. It's patience. It's time. It's the ability to do the same boring thing over and over while your brain screams at you to do something more exciting. You know the story of the tortoise and the hare? Everyone knows it, but nobody actually believes it. They think they'll be the exception, the hare that doesn't fall asleep. But they're wrong. Speed loses, consistency wins every single time. Slow investing isn't a disadvantage, it's your competitive edge. Because while everyone else is chasing the next shiny thing, you're building quietly, steadily, unstoppably, and the earlier you start, the more powerful that advantage becomes. Time is the ultimate leverage. The person who starts at 25 doesn't need to invest as much as the person who starts at 35. Not because they're smarter, because they gave compounding more runway. So the real question isn't how to make it faster. What are you going to do with this information? First, stop checking your portfolio every day. Seriously, what are you expecting to see? Set it and forget it. Looking at it constantly doesn't make it grow. It just stresses you out and increases the odds you'll make an emotional decision you'll regret. Second, focus on consistency, not intensity. It's better to invest $200 a month for 10 years than $2,000 for 10 months and then quit. Automate it. Make it a system, not a decision. Third, get the foundation right before you even think about picking individual stocks. Build your emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses. Boring? Yes. Essential? Absolutely. Because if you don't have that cushion, the first surprise expense will wreck your entire investment plans. Then once that's locked in, start with index funds, not because they're exciting, because they work, they're diversified, they're low cost. They remove the need to pick winners. You're buying the whole market and letting it do what it's been doing for 100 years, going up over time. Only after that foundation is solid should you even consider individual stocks or riskier plays. Don't invert the process. Don't skip steps because you're impatient. That's how people lose. Stop watching the pot, let it cook, trust the process, do the boring work, and let time do the heavy lifting. Because in the end, everything we talked about comes down to this. The world conditioned you to expect fast. Social media, advertising, success stories, all of it. Your brain is wired for instant rewards. So when you look at your investments and they feel slow, that's not a sign you're doing it wrong. That's a sign you're doing it right. The slow feeling is the filter. It separates the people who build wealth from the people who just talk about it. And if you can sit with that discomfort, if you can keep going when it feels like nothing's happening, you've already won. You're already ahead of 90% of people, because here's the reality. Most people will never understand this. They'll keep chasing fast money. They'll keep quitting when it gets boring, and they'll keep wondering why they're not getting ahead. Because if you don't understand this now, you will waste years chasing speed. If you want to learn the actual math behind turning 100,000 into millions, click the video right here. I break down the numbers, the timeline, and exactly how compounding turns modest money into life-changing wealth. Do the boring stuff, think long-term, it works.